Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Duo Dialogues on YouTube.
Thanks for joining us again.
You ever would find yourself in a new city and suddenly realize you have absolutely no idea how to ask for directions?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even in English?
Especially in English, right?
Yeah, especially in English.
Like, what if I needed to get to the nearest, coffee shop?
Yeah, and then you panic and you're like, oh no, what are the words?
I'm lost.
I'm lost.
I'm so lost.
So today, we're going to solve this problem once and for all.
That's right.
We're going to take a deep dive into how to confidently ask for and give directions in English. So let's start with the absolute basics.
Okay.
If we're completely turned around, what are the must-know words to even start understanding directions?
Well, you've got to think about your basic spatial vocabulary, right?
Okay.
So you've got left, right, straight ahead.
Uh-huh.
These are your, cardinal directions.
Yeah.
And then you've got relative positions,
Yeah.
Opposite, beside, near, next to, behind, across,
Okay.
corner block, crosswalk, traffic light, intersection.
So, for example, someone might say it's just across the intersection.
Exactly.
Okay, so those are the building blocks.
It's the essentials.
Now, how do we actually formulate a question? How do we ask someone for help politely and clearly?
Yeah. Well, politeness can really go a long way, especially when you're asking someone for help.
Yeah.
So starting with a simple, can really soften the request.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, keep your questions direct and clear. Could you tell me how to get to?
Uh-huh.
Or where is the nearest?
Okay.
And, if you're unsure about the distance, is it far from here?
Yeah.
Or how long will it take on foot?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are really valuable phrases to have in your back pocket.
And I really like that "could you tell me" phrasing, because it's you're not demanding information.
Exactly.
You're asking for assistance.
Yeah. It's a very subtle but important difference.
Okay, so now let's flip the script.
Okay.
What if someone asks us for directions? How can we give those directions as clearly as possible?
Yeah. Clarity is so important when you're giving directions.
Yeah.
You want to start with simple sequential instruction.
Okay.
Go straight for 2 blocks.
Okay.
Turn left at the corner.
Got it.
And then using landmarks can really make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Landmarks are lifesavers.
So instead of just saying it's on the next street,
Right.
you could say it's opposite the big supermarket.
Yeah, or it's, near the park.
Exactly.
And then you always want to give a final orienting cue,
Right.
You'll see it on your right.
In your left.
Exactly. Easier it is to remember turn by the park or turn by the, whatever,
Absolutely.
than just some random street name.
It's in just 3rd Avenue or something. Yeah.
Especially if you're not familiar with the area. Okay, so to really see how this plays out, let's imagine a couple of real-life scenarios.
Okay, let's do it.
Someone's asking for directions at a super busy train station.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a tourist is trying to find their hotel.
Those are classic situations where you'd need to give directions.
And all this vocabulary and all these phrases we just talked about are super relevant in those exact moments.
Totally. They come in handy all the time.
But I think we even looked at some role-playing examples,
We did.
asking for the nearest pharmacy or guiding someone to a specific gate at an airport.
Right. Those are great examples of how these phrases really come to life.
Yeah, and it really helps you remember them.
For sure.
Okay, any other pro tips for making this whole process smoother?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, speaking at a slightly slower pace can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're talking to someone who doesn't speak English as their first language.
Exactly. It can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
And then, even using simple hand gestures can really clarify left or right.
Huh.
And then if you're unsure whether you've been understood, you can always politely repeat or ask the other person to repeat the directions back to you.
Yeah, and that can prevent a lot of frustration.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about knowing the words.
Right.
It's about the delivery and making sure there's actual understanding happening.
It's about communication.
Yeah.
It's about, ensuring clarity in your giving and politeness in your asking.
I love that.
It's a two-way street.
Well, this has been a super practical deep dive into asking for and giving directions in English.
We covered a lot of ground today.
I feel like we did.
Hopefully you all are feeling much more prepared to navigate your next adventure.
I hope so.
It's a fundamental skill that can really boost your confidence in so many different situations.
Definitely.
So don't be afraid to get out there and explore.
That's right.
And ask for directions if you need to.
And thanks for joining us on the Duo Dialogues for this really helpful deep dive.
It was our pleasure.
Stay tuned for more episodes to help you navigate the world with confidence.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.